Tragedy coming out of Battle Creek today, leaving a 1-year-old child dead. As we told you at the top of the hour, the boy's father was backing out of their driveway this morning when he accidentally ran over his son. The boy was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead, and we seem to be hearing of this kind of tragic situation more and more often these days. There was just an incident near Detroit a couple of weekends ago in Ionia County. There was another incident there. John Hoyle, Dr. John Hoyle, works in the ER at Helen DeVos Children's Hospital. Dr. Hoyle, thanks for coming in tonight. First, let's start off. We don't want to be too graphic, but when these kids come into the ER, what kind of injuries are we talking about? Everything from broken bones to brain injury?
Yes, sir. That is the case. And I think first, we have to let these family know that our thoughts and prayers go out to them, this terrible loss. And I think this is something that all of us as parents can relate to, or that we've all even maybe had a close call with. But in terms of injuries, we do see broken bones. Unfortunately, that's the most common thing. We'll sometimes see more severe abdominal injuries and sometimes head injuries, and unfortunately, on rare occasions, there's even deaths.
Yeah, Doctor, you brought it up, and I think a lot of people might say at home, like, wow, how could this happen? But if you're a parent of a child, especially a child from 1 to 3 to 4, it can happen in an instant.
And that's very true. And so probably the most important thing that you can do as a parent to prevent this from happening is to always know where your child is. And the best way to do that is to have another responsible adult hold on to the children while you're moving the vehicle. And you want to make that a habit so that every time you're backing up, you know that for sure. And that can, fortunately, most of the time will prevent this from happening. You also want to take a good look around when you are backing up. And like you said, you have to realize these kids can move quick. And even though you've checked in the immediate vicinity, even a toddler who's 15 yards away can close that distance very quickly and suddenly find themselves behind your car.
Well, we're talking about a 1-year-old in this latest incident. Doctor, I'm curious, we're talking about vigilance here. We're talking about parents, even if they tell the kids, hey, just step aside, I got to back the car up, we're going to wash it in a second. You got to be vigilant.
You have to be vigilant. You have to have someone else with their hands on that child to make sure that they're not going to suddenly break away or take off. And that's probably the best answer.
What about some of the devices that are available out there in some of the newer vehicles where you actually can have a camera in the back of your car? Do you recommend those kind of devices if you have young kids in the house?
I think
is that necessary?
I don't think it's necessary. Again, I think the absolute best thing is another adult holding on. If there's an adult in front of you holding on to those children, you know they're there. Unfortunately, I haven't seen any studies demonstrating the effectiveness of backup cameras. I think technology is always a great help, but at the same time, I think not everyone can afford a car with a backup camera. I don't have a car with a backup camera.
Right.
So the best thing is still just to have another adult there holding on to children. And if you're going to get in your car and take the children with you, put the kids in first, buckle them in, and then start moving, rather than waiting for them to get in once you've backed out.
Or get them back in the house, something like that.
Yes, very much so.
Dr. John Hoyle, you work in the ER at Helen DeVos Children's Hospital. Doctor, we appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks for having me.